you can't make wealth or build wealth through salary because you're renting out your time. So do you actually believe in this notion? Or?
No, not exactly, because you can make tremendous wealth through salary itself.
So what is the secret to building long-term wealth?
1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10
Hi folks, FinshotsTV is now a part of Zerodha01 network. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. Many of your peer influencers, they themselves say that you can't make wealth or build wealth through salary because you're renting out your time. So do you actually believe in this notion? Or?
No, not exactly, because you can make tremendous wealth through salary itself. And there is enough mathematics to support that, right? So let's take some simple numbers if we can, right? So let's say you can save $10,000 in a month. That's possible for a lot of people. So the simple math says that if you put it in an instrument which gives you 12% per annum, which I think most of the flexi cap funds, etc., will give more than 12%. So if you do 12%, in 20 years, your 1 rupee becomes 10 rupees, and in another 20 years, so in 40 years it becomes 100 rupees. Okay. So actually, if you do the math around this thing, you'll see that it's the compounding effect can actually help you make 5 crores, 6 crores, 10 crores very easy through salary. Actually, it's not that difficult. Tell
me, what was your first salary and at what age did you start earning your money?
The first salary was about 17,000 rupees.
Okay.
And this was way back in 2002. I had joined NIT Limited, which was into IT education. Very bad time to join that company.
Right after the dot-com bubble.
Dot-com bubble.
Yeah.
So tough times. But yeah, the salary was also affected because of that. 17,000 bucks is the take home at there.
Okay. And what was your age then, maybe?
I was 22.
And back then, did you actually have this magical number in your head that, okay, at this age, I'll be making my 1 crore rupees? And did you actually do that?
No, I didn't do that, but I did have my dreams, obviously. Okay. So I was thinking that probably by the age of 30, I'll touch 1 crore of rupees. I think I would have taken 5 additional years to reach that number. So 35 is when I would have probably have 1 crore with me.
And at what point in your career did you actually become serious about building wealth? Because I'm sure, like, when you were probably earning 17,000, you were not maybe thinking a lot about saving, growing your wealth.
No, absolutely not. I think the rent itself was some 3,000 bucks. I was staying in Ahmedabad and places, so it was pretty this thing. So not those, like, savings would be probably some 5,000, 6,000 rupees a month. That's all. So that wasn't much. I think I got serious at the age of 35. This was when I came back to Delhi. So I had spent a lot of time in different cities all across, and I came back to Delhi and I was like, okay, so I'm back home, and let me kind of get serious about keeping some. I mean, it was a bit. I was a bit embarrassed to see how my accounts were done. So I told you, right? So around 35, 1 CR was there. A bulk of it was in real estate. So you can say about 60 lakhs was in real estate at that time.
And you bought it in the early part of your career?
I had bought it 2008, 2009, somewhere on that. Yeah. So in 6 years, it had probably jumped up from about 15, 16 lakhs, which I had paid for it, would have gone up to, let's say, 50, 60 lakhs. What I had actually as liquid was hardly 15, 20 lakhs. Kuch idhar FD mein pada hoga, somewhere it will be there.
That's like 13 years.
That's like 13, 14 years. Okay. That's correct. Yeah. And which is very embarrassing, right? And then some money would have been in my EPF, PPF account. So actually disposable, the way you look at it, was hardly 15 lakhs after working for 12, 13 years. So that's when I got serious about it. I said, okay, enough is enough. I think it's time to build wealth.
So you're 22, you've started earning 17,000 rupees a month. When do you first start investing, and what avenues do you explore? Do you explore real estate? Do you explore equity, etc.? And why I'm asking you this is, I want to understand your journey through each of these instruments. So the ups and downs, highs and lows. So like our audience who is like I'm assuming most of them are salaried people. So they also get an idea of what kind of instruments on which they can rely to build what kind of wealth. So if you could, yeah.
So the good part is as soon as you start earning, your savings is actually started without you knowing it. How does that start? The employee provident fund. So there's some money that's going into the employee provident fund. Something that I started from the first year of my career is to put money in public provident fund. At that time, the limit was 70,000 rupees. Today it's 1.5 lakhs. Then was 70. So I did that. Now, after NIIT, my second job was with ICICI Bank. So that's where I got exposed to money more. And that's where I opened my demat account. I got a little bit into stocks. I started a mutual fund investment also there. So that became the second thing. And then I did real estate. So that's how the sequencing went.
Okay.
That I started with the traditional fixed income instruments, EPF and PPF. And then I moved into a bit of equities because I was exposed to that particular thing. And then when I had some money with me, then I moved into real estate.
So you told me that, okay, you got into ICICI Bank and that's where you got this exposure to equities through mutual funds, etc. Wasn't this before the 2008 financial crisis?
Yes,
and
yes,
like, did you build wealth and did you lose it? Like, would you like to tell our viewers that story?
Yeah, I did build wealth.
Okay, how much?
At its highest point, it went up to 70 lakhs.
Okay, so this is like 5 years into your career and you built 70 lakh rupees worth of wealth. Okay, that's really crazy.
In fact, I took a loan of 5.5 lakhs, a personal loan, and I invested that money into the stock markets. And believe me, Akanksha, 2004, 2005 was like the best period to do stock market investing. Okay. I mean, there's a story, right, there that, sometimes you can blindfold, or even a monkey can throw darts at a board and, whichever stock it kind of hits in. We were all monkeys at that time because you could pick anything you wanted to and it's going to do well.
Okay.
So I think my investments jumped up by 35%, 40% year on year for like 3 years.
Wow.
So 2005, 2006, 2007. And then the crash started from January of 2008.
And did it get impacted?
Oh yes, massively.
How much?
65% down.
Okay. Did that really upset you? I mean, you're saying it so casually. Like tomorrow, if I had 70 lakh rupees and it went down 65%.
No, actually, you can say I had a slight advantage there. So 2008 is when I got a job in Thailand. Okay. So I moved away from India. I went to Thailand and मुझे लगा कि कोई problem नहीं होगा, वो 70 पड़ा रहेगा, it will grow the way it has been growing. But then I got a root shock when I came back to India in 2010. And I opened my ICICI Direct account and I saw that
you were not checking also.
I was not checking.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, but at least sometimes ignorance is also good, at least in investing. Not in this case, but generally it's good. Okay.
So your portfolio crashed and you got to know about it 2 years later. So you didn't know
I didn't
then.
Put any effort into understanding.
Yeah. Okay. So did you discontinue those investments?
Yeah, I pulled those things out.
Okay.
And I put it into some FDs or something, and then I had to make that payment for that real estate as well around the same time. So I did all that.
And the personal loan?
The personal loan was EMI katte ja raha tha salary account se, so that got extinguished.
Would
it was a 4-year loan.
Would you recommend someone to get a personal loan to invest in the markets?
Not at a very early stage. Once you have the confidence of kind of being able to pick stocks or do things like that, then it makes sense. But don't it is a risky strategy at the end of the day, right? Because you got your loans which are at 10.5%, 11%, 12% loans. So, I mean, how much more can you make out of it? It will be a very small delta. We say this, the way of looking at it is risk versus return at the end of the day. That how much risk you're taking and how much return you're getting against it. So unless there's an opportunity where you see like you can double your money, till then leverage is a little difficult thing to master. So I was a bit lucky at that time, right? So I took it at the time when everything was going up by 35-40%, right?
Okay. But then you did pull out all the money and you put it in FDs. So when you're telling me that you moved to Thailand, you went to a different country, did your salary see a spike?
Yes, these guys doubled my salary.
Okay, so for our viewers, would you suggest like for someone who is serious about building wealth, serious wealth through salary, would you suggest them that, okay, maybe working abroad makes sense because, because of the purchasing power parity, the amount of money, say, an engineer makes in India would be far less than what an engineer makes in the US or in Europe or elsewhere?
Yeah, so I won't suggest moving abroad just for money, especially when you're young. So if you are sub 30, like when I went there, I was 28, and uh, I think that abroad experience helped me in terms of working with different cultures and different kinds of people, learning how things are so different in Thailand as compared to India, learning a different language. So Thai people, they can't speak English.
Okay.
So you go into a conference room. So first of all, it's all ladies. So the culture there is that in offices, mostly it's ladies will be working there. So 80% of the office is women, and just 20% are male. Then you sit in that room, and those ladies are talking about, I mean, everything is Thai. So I was in the insurance industry then, and they don't use words like premium, GWP, claim. Everything has a Thai word to it, right? So I understood that premium is prakan panitap or some word like that. That's what it means. Over time, I was able to figure out what they are talking. So how would I do that is, I first figured out the numbers. So 1 to 10 is nung, song, sam, si, ha, ho, jet, pet, kausip.
Okay.
This is 1 to 10,
Okay.
right? In Thai. So they use those things, right? And then I have to figure out, oh, okay, probably they're talking about this and everything.
Okay.
And that kind of worked. So how to adapt to that culture there?
Yeah. So you'd suggest someone young, say sub 20s, like I'm in my 20s, to get a job abroad only, not just for money, but to actually experience a different culture, learn about it, learn about different industries maybe. And so when you moved back to India, like did the high salary thing stick or?
No, it crashed.
Okay, so your salary reduced in your
Yes,
new job in
so
India.
it came very close to what I was earning when I had left previously. So it was around 15, 16 lakhs is what I was earning in 2008 in GE. Then I went there, was some 32 lakhs, 33 lakhs. When I came back, it came down to 18.
Okay.
So I like those, like no
difference in
no
2
difference.
years. Yeah.
Correct.
And like, were you okay with that? Like, is there a particular reason you
I was
decided?
okay with that. That's fine. That's fine. If you're skillful, you can always make up the money.
That's true.
So money will follow. Money can't be your primary criteria, especially when you're very young. So you have to build your skills. And there's something which I tell everyone that, okay, 30 is still the youngish age, but by the time you hit 40, don't tell me you have a job, tell me you have a skill.
Okay.
That's very important, because if you go and say, oh, my job is to do X, there'll be like 100 other people who can do that. But if you go and say, oh, I'm the only person in the country who can do X, then that's where the skill comes in, right? And you'll be a lot more valuable to anyone, and it opens up more avenues for you. You don't need to do a job. You can become a consultant, you can build your own business with it. There's lots of stuff that can be done if you have a skill as compared to having a job.
Okay.
Let's say my skill is being able to research, being able to convert complex information into easily understandable segments, right? So let's say that's my skill. Now, where does that help me? That helps me with YouTube. I also started a newsletter. So I was able to take complex financial data and kind of crunch it down to what is the core of that particular opportunity that's there. I would write it in like 1,000 words. That's all. I mean, that's all that newsletter allows, 1,000 words. So that's there. But it can extend to more stuff. For example, I can have one-on-one consultations with people. There are a lot of people who want to have a chat with me for an hour. They're more than happy to pay, actually. It can move into something like writing a book, for example. It can move into webinars. I can take talks for people. I can arrange a community, which I'm trying at the moment, right?
Has this skill diversified your streams of income apart from the investment income that you're earning?
Yes, it has. So now YouTube becomes my primary this thing. So within YouTube, there are two classifications of incomes which are there. One is the YouTube advertising income that I receive. So for any person who watches my channel, and hopefully they are watching it without a ad blocker, and
Yeah.
The ad comes in. So one view gives me around 15 paise.
Okay.
So on an average, I have about I would say about 7 lakh views in a month. So that's about 1 lakh rupees, which comes from advertising income. And then I do only 4 videos in a month. So each of this gets sponsored by some brand or the other. So that's anywhere from 1.1 to 1.3 lakhs. So 1.2 on an average. So that's 4.8, 1.2 into 4,
Yeah.
4.8 plus another 1 lakh. So
Yeah.
that's 5.8 is what
YouTube
gives me. I also have a community. It's just started. I charge 10,000 for an entire years of interaction. That's very early days.
Coming back to your investment journey. So, okay, you started in 2002, were not really saving much. Then you started saving, built enormous wealth, 70 lakh rupees, 5 years into your career. Then the market crash happened, and then you dispersed that money to like FDs and all.
Right.
Then how did you get into equities again?
From 2008 until 2014, I was not into equities.
Okay.
And then 2015, I got that courage once again. The markets were also going up. Modi ji had come in, and that rally had started. So a little bit more interest, some more time had come in. So I got that thing again. But I said, I'm not going to touch stocks now.
Okay.
Let's start with mutual funds.
Okay. And in mutual funds, how were you picking these funds? Like, were you saying, okay, I'll only invest in value funds or in just momentum or contrarian growth? Like, there are so many things out there, right? Like,
Correct.
How do you pick what is right for you? If you could just make like a framework for our audience so that, because you've 5x'd your wealth.
Yeah, but I'll give you a quick background here.
Okay.
So in 2015, there weren't too many index funds. And there was absolutely nothing called a momentum fund or factor funds. Okay. So at that time, the only options we had are the actively managed mutual funds which are available. But there I made this simple strategy that yes, I am going to go for flexi cap funds or go for large cap and mid cap funds. I was not very keen on small cap funds at that time. That strength had not come by then, but later it came.
Yeah.
There was a fund called DSP Micro Cap Fund, which was a very popular fund at that time. It went up 40-50% and went down 40%. So it was like in 2 years, it was like pretty much very standard this thing, but very popular fund of that time. So I had done a mix of large caps, mid caps, and small caps. I didn't have a very strong strategy at that time. Then over time, as the years went by, I started realizing that there are too many schemes. Yeah, as you rightly said, today there are 2,000, 3,000 schemes which are available. It becomes very difficult because every day, left, right, and center, you're getting something, someone is doing better, someone is doing worse, etc. That's when I stuck on to this simple concept that I'm going to create a small grid, a 3x3 grid, where in the x-axis, I will have the 3 market cap sizes, so large caps, mid caps, and small caps. So you got to visualize it in your head, right?
Yeah.
So you got a 3x3 grid, 9 boxes. Yeah. So on one axis, you have large, mid, and small. And on the other axis, you have growth style of investing, the value style of investing, and the momentum style of investing. So you're getting it. In one point, you're looking at the size of the funds, and the other point, you're looking at the
strategy,
the style of the investing style that's there. What I realized, when that revelation came when I was doing this, is that this makes my life so easy.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not going to be worried about some defense fund has come in, some energy fund has come in, some new opportunity fund karke kuch bol raha hai. I don't worry about any of these. So instead of thinking out of the box, I now think within the box all the time.
Okay.
So I'm always thinking ki ye 9 mein main kya fit kar sakta. So let's take a few examples. Like we spoke about Parag Parikh Flexi Cap Fund. Where does it fit? It fits within the value, large, and little bit of mid also. Okay, so that's what his style is. 70% large mid alta hai, 30% mid alta hai. So it fits there. If you take a momentum fund like Kotak Nifty Mid Cap 150 Momentum 50 fund, where it's going to fit? Clearly, it's going to fit in mid caps. So mid cap momentum. So wala box wahan pe mera cover ho gaya. So if you start covering, and you got enough funds to cover everything, right? So I can cover this entire box, and it's going to take me about 6-7 funds, not more than that. So then I do put in SIPs on all of them. The other decision you have to make is that how much do you want to put in large, how much in mid, and how much in small, and similarly, what percentage should be in growth, how much in value, and how much in momentum. Now, depending on your age, your proclivity to risk, etc., you can decide the way you want to. I use 50% in large, 25% in mid, and 25% in small. I'm more comfortable with that.
Okay.
In the same way, I use about 70% in growth, I use 15% in value, and 15% in momentum.
Okay. So out of these styles of investing, which has contributed more to your portfolio?
Everything has contributed at different points in time.
Okay.
So that's the beauty about having different styles of investing when you're choosing stuff. If you go with only one, there are going to be periods of elation and depression. Like, let's understand this also. Let's take growth as an example, right? One of the funds which was really into growth, still into growth, was Axis Mutual Fund. And they had a fantastic time in 2017, 18, and 19. At that same time, which was the value style which was doing the worst? Value. Take an example, HDFC, Prashant Jain.
Yeah.
Right? So Mr. Jain would very value investing oriented person, right? So his funds were like bottom of the pile. So what was happening then is the growth style was in favor, the value style was not in favor. 2020 COVID happened. What happened? The roles got reversed.
Yeah.
Correct. So the roles got reversed. So value went up. Growth did not go up as much. Right? So though that up and down thing keeps on happening.
What have you relied more on? Is it equity? Sorry, is it mutual funds or is it stocks? And which has performed better?
I have relied more on mutual funds. Even now it's 80-20. It used to be 100-0, maybe till 2017. 2018 is when I really again came back into stocks. So it was 100-0. Now it's like 80-20. And over time also, I think probably 70% will still be mutual funds at any given point of time.
But why is that? Like, because there is this notion that people say, there are like these influencers who will come out and say that why would you rather pay expense ratio to an AMC when you can manage your own money? So
yeah, so there are 2-3 reasons for this thing. One is, let's take because we discussed momentum, right? Now, there are certain strategies that you can't do yourself. It requires a lot of data. It requires a better understanding of things. And a retail individual is not equipped with that. So if I want to operate factor, it's called smart beta funds basically. So if I want to operate within factor investing like momentum, low volatility, or if I want to look at quality as a factor, if I want to look at alpha as a factor, I'll have to rely on index funds. So that's one reason why MFs are required. The second is every investor has a style of his own. Like I have a style of my own. And come what may, I will never be able to learn another style. It's very difficult. Okay. And all these mutual funds, if you really see, every mutual fund manager, you can actually box him into growth and value.
Okay.
So if you want value, for example, you look at Rajiv Thakkar, you look at the ICICI guys.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you look at him. Prashant Jain is a good example of value. But if you want to look at growth, you look at Motilal Oswal, you look at Axis, you look at Mira Asset. These guys have a very growth orientation.
What about an average salaried person? Would you suggest them that no, you handle your own investing, or would you actually advise them to just go get mutual funds?
I would advise them to go for mutual funds. To the extent possible, run with mutual funds and work on your primary income, which is your salary. Try and get 10%, 15% raises every year, because there are two advantages of this, right? Anyway, you have a fund manager, who's got a lot more access as compared to you, who's got a lot more information as compared to you, and the guy does a decent job, right? So that person can give you what, 14, 15% of returns on a year-on-year basis. Plus you have your salary, and that salary is also growing by, let's say, another 10%.
Yeah.
So you got like 25% there, right?
In your wealth building journey so far, so we've reached around 2019. What were some mistakes that you probably did that put you back behind years?
So Titan Industries is a good example of that. See, I call it Titan Industries. Yeah. It's called Titan Company now, but I'm talking about 2003, 2004, when. So just to give you what Titan does now, in a month it does about, I think it does about 1,000 crores. In a quarter it does 1,000 crores of profits. So in a month it does about 300 crores of profit.
Yeah.
In 2003, 2004, when I just started, the entire company was available at 300 crores.
Wow.
Okay, the entire company is available at 300 crores. So it was then when I made my first mistake. So I bought Titan, okay, which is not a mistake. And that was the 2004 period. Everything was going up. So in 5 months, the price of Titan doubled. 5 months, okay, very happy. Told my friends also, oh, what a great pick I had, and I sold that at 100% profit.
Okay.
And then in 5 months, it again doubled. Unfortunately, I didn't have any shares. And then it again doubled, and it doubled, and it doubled, and it doubled, and it doubled. Okay. So effectively, if I had held those 20,000 rupees of shares, which I had, kind of sold off at 40,000, that 20,000 would be more than 2 crores today. Now, that's not the mistake.
Okay.
That's not the mistake.
Okay.
The mistake is I sold it, then it doubled. I still felt it's a good company to buy. Even when the price is, let's say, 4 times of what I had initially bought it for. I didn't buy. Then when it again doubled, I still felt it's a good company to buy.
Okay.
But I didn't buy. You know why I didn't buy?
Why?
Because I bought it at a cheaper rate. So that anchoring effect was there in my head.
Okay.
And that prevented me from
building a lot of wealth.
Yeah.
So how do you even come up with this, that okay, this is the strategy that I'm going to use to exit out of my stock picks?
So actually there's a lot of science, I mean, not verified science, but there's a lot of theories behind when you should be selling. Some people use moving averages, someone will use something else. But one technique which I really liked, someone had explained it to me. It's what he labeled it as free shares.
Okay.
So what he means by that is, like in my case, I bought 20,000 rupees worth of Titan and it became 40,000 and I sold the entire 40,000. He said, don't do that. You sell 20,000. So your principal amount, which was 20, you sell that much worth of shares. You take that 20 in, and whatever remains, the remaining 20 in my case, that becomes like free shares for you. So you stick on to it as long as the company continues to do well.
Okay.
So and honestly, like I use earnings as a factor. Like some people use moving averages, someone will use volumes or something like that. I use earnings as that factor because as long as the company is improving its earnings, you will generally see that good things will happen with that company. It's only when those earnings start going down or there's an expectation that it's going to go down, that's when the kind of dissonance really starts. Okay. And a good way of understanding is when you look at the Nifty, the way it has grown, not for 1 year or 2 years, look at it over 25 years, how it's grown. You can get those charts on investing.com, Trendline, etc. And you compare that with how the Nifty EPS has grown. So EPS being the earnings per share and Nifty the value, right? Take those two charts, superimpose on top of it, it's like a mirror image. There might be little ups and downs because there's going to be periods of overvaluation and undervaluation, but generally it's going to be like a point-to-point line, and it's going to be like pretty similar, both these graphs. So that gives me a conviction that, as long as the earnings are increasing, your stock price is going to go in that same direction.
So if you were to just break down your net worth into, okay, how much is in equity, how much is in real estate, other assets?
Equity is 4, your debt is 2, and there's about 1.2, which is right now into hybrid funds. So hybrid funds are like mix of equity and debt. These hybrid funds will eventually get into equity. So what I've done is I've done a STP there. So STP is basically nothing but you put your money in a safe instrument and you're giving an instruction to the fund house to move that on a monthly basis into a equity fund. So I told you, right, like all my investment happens systematically. I don't like to put all that money into the stock market in one go. So I use a STP kind of this thing. So it's 4 goes into equity, 2 into debt. You got about 1.5, 1.3 into hybrid. Then you have 1.5 in property, and you have another 1.2 in provident fund.
So you told me that you became serious about investing in around 2015, and then in the next 4 to 5 years, you made your first crore. And from then, that's like in 2019 to 2025, you're at 10 crores right now, which means in about 6 years, you have 10x'd your money, like your money has exploded. So I want to understand, for like folks like me who are watching this video, who actually want to build wealth just like that, what is the exact framework to do this? And I want you to give me the specifics, okay? What should be my minimum level of income? How much should I be saving every month? What should be the expenses, etc.? And on whatever I'm saving, what should be the minimum return expected every year for me to be able to grow my wealth, say 10x in 5 to 6 years?
The first crore is, so actually everything is a function of your the amount of savings that you make, because what you save is generally what you put into investments, right? So if you follow the simple formula, people say income minus expenses is equal to your savings. And I meet a lot of people who say, मेरे पास कुछ पैसा बचता ही नहीं है, and probably you would have been in that situation when you were very young, started your career, etc. So it's the same scenario there, that the reason why people don't have much to invest is because they get this formula wrong. So they always say income minus expenses is equal to savings, but what should ideally be done is income minus your investment, और जो बचेगा वो जाना चाहिए expenses में. So it's kind of a mindset change, that as soon as you get your money, if you can put some money aside as investment, it kind of accelerates your growth. So I'm talking about the first 1 crore, that it takes time for people to kind of get into that particular stage, because everyone is in that dream world कि मेरा जो income है वो सारा खर्चा हो जाता है. That's because you're not putting in your mental framework saying that I want to save some money first, I want to put it in investment, and जो बच जाएगा I want to use it for expenses.
So there's no specific number that this much I should save every year?
It's not so specific here, but you can use simple formulas, obviously, right? So for example, for 1 crore, if you can keep 15,000 rupees aside, right, get 15% on it for 15 years, that becomes a crore.
Okay.
So 15,000 every month, earning 15% per annum for 15 years is equal to 1 crore.
Okay. All right. 1 crore sorted. Now how to 10x it?
Yeah. So again, there is mathematics, but you'll not like it if I say 12% crore over 20 years. So that's one way of doing it. But what you can do is your income has to grow. So try anything you can to grow your income, because that's where the capital actually comes from, right? So I would always suggest that a person focuses more on increasing their income, because that will feed into the investment account also. And if you can do well, if you can get a hike of 10%, maybe even 15%, you can change your jobs, etc. So that helps you grow your income.
So what you're basically saying is, I have to be excellent at my craft, that, more people want to hire me and my income stream grows. I have to consistently save and systematically invest it.
Right.
And then, and beyond the 1 crore point, it will exponentially grow. So are you saying there's no secret sauce, there's no hack to grow?
I have not come across one.
Yeah, got it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking with us and taking out the time.
Most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do let us know what you think about this in the comments. See you on the other side.